Hey everyone, I'm Jared Samuels, and welcome to another episode of What's Behind the Game. We have an exclusive look at all our favorite athletes eat, train, and anything else you'd like to know. Today on the show, we have Lisie Kit, who's a volleyball player at Clemson University. So welcome.
Hi, thanks.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
So my first question is what's your story? What sports did you play growing up, and how did you get to volleyball?
Yeah. So I was born in California and then right near Stanford and then moved to Texas, right between Dallas and Fort Worth when I was 7. And obviously sports are pretty big in Texas. High school football, everything's huge. And I have a twin brother, so I played every sport, boys and girls sports. Um, Played obviously volleyball, started rec volleyball with just all my fun girlfriends, and then played soccer, did dance. I played football with my brother. I played softball, but then also played on the baseball team with my brother's team. I did track, swimming, diving.
He really did everything.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and then gymnastics, because I'm about 6 feet tall now, so gymnastics kind of was not my forte, and dancing I don't have much rhythm, more of like a hand-eye coordination, not like a person. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, pretty much all of them.
And what stood out to you between all those sports? What stood out to you about volleyball?
Yeah. I don't. I mean, I like team sports. So like swimming and like golf I did too, I guess. Like those are fun, but I didn't like them as much because they were individuals like sports. I like team sports better. I liked it because it was inside because I'm
It's hot.
and it was literally, yeah, soccer and track were just a nightmare when it's like 110 out and you're practicing at like 3 to 5 p.m. It's not fun. Um yeah, I don't know. And I think like volleyball is really big in North Texas. So I think like I obviously enjoyed it when I was little, but then I could see kind of like the pipeline of it as I got older, the opportunities with it, just because I mean, other sports are big in Texas as well, but there's like just certain areas of the United States where they're like hot spots for volleyball, and North Texas is one of them. So that was just kind of a good experience that I knew was waiting.
Yeah, what was your training schedule like in high school? Were you playing like selects volleyball as
Mhm.
well?
Yeah, so our high school, I went to South Lake Carroll High School, and it's a big 6A high school, and all of our sports compete for state titles. So it's a huge
Yeah.
sports, and so volleyball was intense. I mean, it was technically like the last block of every day plus like 2 or 3 hours after. So it was like I got on 2 to 6 or something during the week, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday we would practice like 6 to 11 in the morning, and then we played I think like Tuesday Friday. So yeah, we would play Tuesday Fridays and just bus or wherever, and then also we did club volleyball. So technically high school volleyball was in the fall, just like with college. And then club or travel or select volleyball um, tryouts were always like the day after school volleyball ended and then lasted until like middle of summer. So it was pretty much year round doing, because then right when club would end, you'd start summer camp for school volleyball. But in club was intense too. I played at TAV in Skyline, and those were each like an hour or so drive from my house. So I'd drive
Oh
like
wow.
an hour there and back like 4 days a week. And then we traveled on the weekend. So either we would play, I mean, Texas, like I said, has great volleyball. So we would play a lot of places in Texas, but then also, I mean, traveled to like Spokane, to Florida, to Atlanta, to Minneapolis, to Reno, and California, and, everywhere in between for tournaments.
Was all your practice like in the context of the team? It's like a team practice?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
setters. So I'm a setter, and setters always had to get there like 30 minutes early at Skyline. And so we setters, it was just they're like the quarterbacks, whatever. I don't know. They just had individual training, and
Uh-huh.
so setters would get like individual training, and then the whole team would practice together after.
Oh, okay. And what was the recruiting process like for you? And what ultimately led you to Clemson from
Yeah.
Texas?
So originally, I wasn't like I need to play college volleyball. I mean, I just loved it, and I was on a good team, and like we like starting like 14's year. Um, I mean, coaches start looking at you, which is crazy because at 14's I was like, I don't even know if I want to play college volleyball. Like, I'll just see what happens. And then like 15's year, like whenever we would travel around to those tournaments, college coaches just come and like kind of surround your court. And so like you would send or like then I was like, okay, well I might as well just try. Like I'll see what, I don't really like know, but wouldn't hurt, whatever, everyone else is doing it. I still just like enjoyed it at this point. And so you would send like schools that I was interested in, I would just like send them my schedule and where I was going. And then they would come to my court to watch. And so like just wherever we were traveling or, and then like with Clemson, they expressed interest. And so when I went and played a tournament in Atlanta, I just went and visited Clemson while I was there and like absolutely loved it. Um, yeah.
Was that the
So
main school that wasn't play for you, or were there other ones that you were looking at?
yeah, so I ultimately like my top two were Pepperdine and Clemson.
Oh, in California.
To go back to California,
Yeah.
and but also like growing up in Texas, like high school football is huge, and other sports are huge, and Pepperdine doesn't. I mean, their football team isn't
Yeah,
nothing compared to
Clemson's definitely
Clemson's.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and I think it was
oh,
like hindsight, like I was doing it just like because I love other sports that I want other sports there. But I'm really glad I did choose a school with more sports oriented, just because like one, the benefits trickle down a lot more when you have a program that is that good at football. And it just like back the Tigers is like huge. Like no matter how we're doing in our season, like we always have fans and for every sport because just being like a sport oriented school has been so amazing because I don't know, everyone loves every sport and comes to all these games and people are always supporting you and comes to just like a great atmosphere and place.
mhm. What was that transit? I mean, seems like it wasn't. You went from a big high school to a big college, but what was the transition like on the
Yeah.
court?
Yeah. I remember even in high school, I was like, and I committed and everything. I was like, how much harder could it be? Like, I already train, twice a day. Like, we play so much volleyball, but it really was like different. I mean, like you're playing with, because like some girls, at least in the ACC, like my freshman year, we played this girl that was like 6'7". And I mean, this past year, we played a team that had two girls that were 6'8". And like, you just didn't see that often in club volleyball.
Oh
And
wow.
and then like on top of that, there's like, you go into school, go into college, like when you're 17 or 18, and there's some girls that like take 5-6 years of eligibility because they get hurt or whatever. So you're playing against like 23-year-olds versus like in high school, you're like 15 playing against 17-year-olds, or like in club, you're only playing against like your age. So I
Mm.
think it's crazy seeing like what looked to me as like grown women that have been lifting, day in, day out for 6 years.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you
that
start
like
immediately?
say that again.
Did you start?
No, we had it was kind of like my freshman year was kind of all over the place. So like right before I got there, in April, it's like April my senior year, the coaches that had recruited me got completely wiped, and the people that I'd been talking to for the last 3 years, because I committed when I was 15, and I had been calling them every week for like 3 years.
Oh wow.
And I know they've been to all my games, and they were a great married couple. I never got to play for them, but they like got fired and everything right before I got there, and then we got a whole new coaching staff who's been awesome. But it was just like a really weird freshman year with like 8 or 9 girls quit, and that's just like what happens when you get a new coach. A bunch of girls quit, and she brought in a bunch of girls, and so it's kind of a whirlwind. But it's been all uphill.
So you would say like the biggest difference between the two is just the size, the strength of the girls
For
you're playing
sure.
against.
For sure. For sure. With the volleyball aspect, yeah, I think like, yeah, it was just bigger, stronger, faster than you've ever seen or played against. But then also like outside of volleyball, there's so much more of a time commitment with like lifting and conditioning, and like they're just keeping you so accountable with your academics, and like in high school volleyball and club volleyball, we obviously like care, like volleyball was everything, but they didn't really care like how our grades were or like, how fast our mile time, like whatever, like all these things. And so that was something that was just a big adjustment in college of like, you put in so much more time outside of volleyball to make your volleyball better. Just like, cause we didn't, like my club didn't lift a ton. Like we conditioned and stuff, but it wasn't all, but like in college, you have people that's their jobs, see how heavy you can
You
lift,
can go, yeah.
and they do all the mechanics and logistics of it during the day just to kind of test it out on you. So
Mm-hmm. So in that vein, like can you take us through like a typical day of how you train?
yeah, so like in the fall we are in season, and so it's 20 hours a week of practices, and then like traveling or not on the weekends. We play in the ACC, it's Friday, Sunday. So if we go away, we'll leave on Thursday and get back like pretty late Sunday night. So I normally miss class Thursday and Friday. But practices, like our practice block is always 2:30 to 6:30 p.m. And then I have classes every day. So those are I normally schedule those between like 8 and 1, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then after practice, I always have so much homework, do that, get some food. Yeah, it's in season's rough just with the traveling and the weekends and everything, but it's worth it. And then in the spring, it's only 8 hours a week at first, so it's a lot less volleyball but more like strength and conditioning, because you do like just as much strength and conditioning as you do volleyball. So that's just like the time to get bigger, stronger, faster.
Is that
Everything.
just like weights and running and?
Yeah, and so
Okay.
we'll do, like in the spring we do in the spring at least we did weights at 6:30 in the morning. So I would do weights at 6:30, then go to my class at 8 a.m. and have a couple classes, and then come back to the gym for like practice. But it was a lot shorter of a practice because you're only in 8-hour weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then after practice, do my extracurriculars or homework or whatever.
Mm-hmm. How do you? I don't think I wrote this down, but I'm just curious. How do you become a better setter? Like, how do you
Yeah.
practice that? I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
So we have, like in our gym, we have these like hoops that have nets attached to them, and they're just like, I don't know, 18 inches diameter maybe. And um you just have people toss balls to you and from all over the court, like for us, like try and get it in the hoop. And then we
Mm-hmm.
also have this thing called the NOAA system, which I know is popular for basketball, and it tells you like the angle of your trajectory. It'll like spit out a number. So like it's from like the plane of the net where the ball's coming out of your hands to like up into the hoop. You want like a certain angle that tells you kind of like the speed too. And like, so like a lower angle is like a faster set, kind of like it's more of a shoot tempo than like a higher lofty set. And so like every coach has different things that they want for their offensive system. So like in high school, most of the club, I had coaches that wanted like faster tempo sets. And so you want like lower numbers. And that's the same with Clemson. Our coach likes the faster sets. But every program's different. Like I know Texas, where you went, they are more of like a higher tempo, loftier sets, just because they bring in girls that are like 6'6",
Super tall, yeah.
yeah, just massive. So like you just need to get it above but like we have, I mean, our girls can jump high too, but they're not as tall, so we are better at speed than height, kind of.
So you're trying to get it faster and lower so they can just spike
Pick
it
it
in.
off. Yeah,
Oh,
pick it
okay.
off. Just get they're up in the air before that even comes in their window, and then they just come try and pick it off.
Okay. So that's there are two main strategies, I guess. One is
Yeah, it's like tempo
faster
and
and
location
okay.
of our bread and butter. So always we work on tempo and location, try and get perfect at both of them.
Interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So how do you balance like, because I think you're an engineering major, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance academics and athletics? You talked a little bit about it in your schedule. But
Yeah.
overall, I
Yeah.
mean,
No,
engineering is
it's
not
tough.
easy.
It's tough. I mean, it's okay. It's tough, but also my dad is he did electrical engineering and software engineering, and then my twin brother does nuclear engineering. So It's kind of just in the family.
Okay.
It's known I was going to do engineering. I never even really thought about it. I just like assumed I was because I'm so similar to my dad.
Hmm.
I chose mechanical, just kind of process of elimination. I knew I didn't really want to do what my dad does or my brother does. And then the other ones just, I don't know, it's kind of broad and I'm more like creative and like if I wasn't going to do engineering, I probably would have done like architecture because there's a lot of like, innovation and art in it and stuff. And I like that side. So I think mechanical had that to offer. But it's literally all just time management. Like on the bus, I'm just studying wherever we're traveling, studying any chance I get. Um, I've gotten really close with some people in my class that will help me when I miss class or just create a really good relationship with my teachers because obviously like they don't love it when I miss class, but I can't help it.
Hmm.
And then yeah, just time management and like always staying ahead of it has helped me. Like I can't cram, I can't wait till the last second. I always just gotta do it when I get it and stay on top of things. But I also love what I'm learning, so that makes it easier. Like there's a lot of people that do engineering that hate it and just kind of do it because to get a good job after or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's really hard for those people to like enjoy it and stuff. But I enjoy what I'm learning, so it's not as difficult to study and everything.
Hmm. And you actually, I think, went on an engineering trip to Uganda. Can
Hmm.
you talk about that? That seems like a really
Yeah,
cool experience.
it was definitely one of the best experiences I've ever had. It was with an organization. It's an international organization called Engineers Without Borders, and they have them like Doctors Without Borders, or I think there's a couple of other ones. And so a lot of universities have it on their campus, and specifically with Clemson, we have multiple projects going on at a time, and each project consists of like 4 stages. So it's like you normally complete a project over like 4 or 5 years. And so had just started one in Uganda, and it was a primary school in a community that the children were having to walk like it was like 3 or 4 kilometers to school at the time, and they were having to pass through just like bad parts of town with witch doctors and just like unsafe places. And so we were building them a school closer in their village. Um, and then we also have 2 projects currently in Nicaragua that are, and right now I'm now working on one of the Nicaragua projects, which is a purification system. So we built, Engineers Without Borders Clemson built a well a few years ago in that village, and now they're just going back to work on some purification within it to make it absolutely okay for drinking water, but they still use it for like cooking and showering and everything, which has been awesome. And then there's another project in Nicaragua for a bridge. um, but yeah, Uganda was like the best experience ever. I mean, I adored the country and its beauty, but also just the people that live there were so just kind and welcoming and grateful. And I mean, it's so eye-opening, like what everyone says. I guess it just makes you realize like how much you have here and how much you really don't need here that we have that
Yeah.
we need, when like they don't have a school.
Right.
And and it's just like it's so crazy.
Gives that perspective.
For sure. Huge perspective. Huge just change of heart to gratefulness, and just like seeing more of God's creation was awesome because I don't know, it was beautiful. And we went like, because uh, the source of the Nile River starts in Uganda and flows north to Egypt. So we got to go to like, the source of the Nile, which was like, what?
Yeah,
And there's
that's
like, I
cool.
took a rock home and I'm like, this is from the Nile River, like it's just crazy.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was super cool.
Awesome. Well, I didn't write this one down either, but what's your like favorite memory on the court in college? Since you're right a senior, right? So
Yeah, I'm gonna be senior this fall. Um, I don't know. Favorite on the court. I don't know if there's just like one specific thing. I mean, gosh, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I guess, okay, this past year we beat Duke in 5 sets, and we haven't beaten Duke since my time at Clemson, and so I think that was, like, just beating them period was cool, because we like, in the past times that I'd played them, we lost, but then also, like, in 5 sets, like, it was so close, and it was just, like, this really long match, and it just felt so, like, rewarding after, I guess. It was fun. It was just
Nice.
atmosphere.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So there's a final question we ask everyone, and it's what are your top 3 recommendations for young athletes?
Okay. I actually wrote these down because I saw your Word doc. Let me see what I wrote. Oh, my first one was remember why you play the sport that you do. Because I know, like, for me and like every one of my teammates in college, we just like hit roadblocks when it just gets really hard, whether that's through like, strength and conditioning or just like the grind of in season and traveling and practice like every single day. And you just have to kind of go why you play. Otherwise, it's so easy to just want to like throw in the towel and just like not give it your all that day or um, whatever. So just like always remembering like the reason you started playing and who you play for and just like why you're playing.
Mhm.
And my second one is kind of goes into that of is lean on your teammates because I know for me like the biggest blessing that has come from playing volleyball, like rec volleyball to high school volleyball to club volleyball, college volleyball, has been my teammates. I have made so many lifelong friends from each stage of all of those that I still continually talk to, and we're on like all separate parts of the United States at all different universities. Or I mean, even in Clemson, my teammates from Clemson that I've just like that have become sisters. And it's crazy to even think about because like when you choose your friends, like you legit get to like choose your friends, but like you don't choose your teammates, like your coaches choose your teammates and then like you just kind of inherit them. And for some reason you become like I'm like way closer with all my teammates than my friends outside of volleyball just because like of the what you go through like physically and mentally and emotionally and just like
Mhm.
the highs and the lows and everything. So it's like it's sometimes it's just crazy to like actually think about like I didn't even choose these people and yet like they're my best friends and they're my sisters and just like remembering that like you have them to lean on when it does get hard and to just like never take them for granted because like the what I think I'm gonna miss the most when I graduate is like not being on like a team. Like I've always like had 15 girlfriends next to me like doing everything with. So like that's gonna be crazy. But
Mhm.
and then my third one was kind of cliche, but I mean it. I just said enjoy it. Like there's so many times when it gets tough and especially nowadays, like there's so many outside factors of like media and like I mean college athletics is so glorified now, I feel like, and through like the money that people will offer you or whatever, like all of it, like just trying to like drown out all of that noise and just like enjoy it as you're playing and like being present in those moments and those practices and those games of like the highs and the lows, all of it, and just absorbing it all and like truly like finding ways to enjoy it when it's hard and just like genuinely enjoying it when it's not.
Mhm. Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Of
I'm glad
course.
we could get the